The goal of any modern processing plant is to provide a sanitary product to consumers. But how can you be sure that your plant meets sanitary standards? This plant looks clean enough. The workers are wearing sanitary clothing. The processing room is refrigerated to 40 degrees Fahrenheit in order to reduce microbial growth. Things look pretty good here. Bacterial contamination shouldn't be much of a concern, right? Of course the answer is wrong. Why else would there have been such an obvious lead-in for this? The truth of the matter is, unless extensive precautions are followed, any plant could manufacture products containing a microorganism called Listeria monocytogenes. This microorganism is known as a psychrotropic pathogen, also referred to as a clean plant pathogen. This means that it can thrive in a cold environment, even in sanitary working conditions, and yes, it can still cause foodborne illnesses under these circumstances. Listeria can cause serious illness and even death to those with lowered resistance to foodborne illnesses. Elderly individuals, infants, unborn children, infirmed people, and those with health problems such as AIDS or cancer are particularly susceptible to its adverse effects. Listeria monocytogenes is a gram-positive bacterium. That means that it stains blue under laboratory conditions. It will grow with or without oxygen. However, it is more likely to thrive in conditions where oxygen is limited. It differs from most bacteria that cause foodborne illness because it will grow in environments below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. It may also be found in more hygienic operations. In more sanitary atmospheres, there is less competition from other microorganisms, and Listeria can flourish with greater ease. However, operating in unsanitary conditions is not the solution. Though Listeria may not be able to survive, other microorganisms will likely cause problems. So how do you combat this elusive bacteria? The first step is to know where Listeria comes from. It normally originates in the gastrointestinal tract of birds and mammals. Generally, it will enter a processing plant by employees, birds, or animals. The microorganism is very resilient. Once established, it can be extremely difficult to remove. To protect against Listeria, it is best to prevent its entry into the plant. There are 4 basic ways to do this. The first step in successful prevention is testing for the presence of Listeria. Microbial sampling should be conducted to test the effectiveness of a plant's efforts to combat Listeria. Of course, lab tests are only the first step in the process. The second step is to establish rigid cleaning practices and sanitary standards for plant employees. Employees should be required to wash their hands and change their clothes before entering a work area. This is especially true for those working in ready-to-eat manufacturing areas. All employees should dip their hands in a sanitizing solution of iodine, or a quat, before entering work areas. Stepping in a foot bath is also necessary to destroy bacteria found on the soles of footwear. Proper attire is essential for eliminating contamination. Employee clothing should be clean, and there should be covering over all hair. A common place where Listeria resides is in floor drains. These drains should be flushed with a minimal splattering of liquids. Excessive spraying of water is not only wasteful, but it can spread contamination. After cleaning, a quat sanitizer should be poured down the drain, or a quat plug with a slow release of the sanitizer may also be installed. Refrigeration units are another possible source of contamination. Regular cleaning of the units, followed by the application of a quat sanitizer, can prevent contamination of these units. Dirty equipment is a favorite location for Listeria to reside, especially if a biofilm buildup has occurred. Processing equipment can be thoroughly cleaned with high-pressure, low-volume equipment. Foaming and hand scrubbing directly following use is also an effective way to combat the bacterium. Delayed or ineffective cleaning can potentially increase the presence of Listeria, especially in difficult-to-clean areas of processing equipment. Be certain that water hoses used for cleaning are properly sanitized. Past studies have revealed that an unclean hose can spread Listeria throughout a processing plant. Other locations where the microorganism can be found include standing water on floors, condensation on equipment. The plan must contain a means to combat this pathogen. HACCP is the key for prevention and protection against this hazard. Listeria monocytogenes is a strong pathogen that is found throughout the environment. Once it establishes itself in your plant, you will find it very difficult to control and eliminate. The tools for preventing Listeria are readily available to you. Rigid sanitation, temperature control, testing and microbial sampling, and the HACCP prevention program. Listeria is a formidable opponent, but you can prevail when you practice these tried and true techniques. Ceilings and walls can be another culprit for breeding the bacterium. Soil containing Listeria should be removed promptly and effectively from any plant. If left unchecked, the soil can attach to equipment with cement-like orientation. Once this occurs, removal of Listeria can become a very difficult task. A clean work area can be contaminated by maintenance workers and tools. In ready-to-eat areas, maintenance workers should abide by the same dress code and hygiene practices as other employees. Any tools used in these areas should be cleaned and sanitized. Temperature control is the third step for preventing Listeria from entering your plant. Listeria can grow even at temperatures as low as freezing, but keeping control of temperature conditions will help reduce its growth rate if it should exist within your plant. Processing rooms should be kept to around 40 degrees Fahrenheit to optimally control the growth of the pathogen. The fourth step is the HACCP plan. Protection against Listeria cannot be accomplished without the assessment of your HACCP plan.